If you're Pereira, you don't want to go up against the interim champ. You want the undisputed.
If Pereira wins on Saturday, he's calling out Jon Jones.
It would be so out of order to Tom Aspinall. It would be so not what should happen.
So did you guys see the video Tom put out recently or yesterday about him moving on from the Jon Jones fight?
He did. He was sitting on a train, and I think he said, he was talking about Jon Jones. He said that the UFC is still trying to make the fight happen. He said that obviously he wants to fight him, and he doesn't know what the holdup is. Apparently it's all on Jon's side. He doesn't know whether it's financial or whatever, but what did he say, Brian? He said at some point he's just going to have to move on.
Yeah, essentially that is what he said.
Yeah, what's that? Harrington just put a link in there. Is that the video?
I put a link to the video. Yeah. The quote the championship rounds grabbed was, remember what I said, I will retire Jon Jones without even fighting him.
Yeah, I mean that is a nice line from Tom Aspinall. Paul, me and Anthony spoke about this at length. Let's have a listen to the big man himself.
Where we're at right now is I have spoke to the UFC on multiple occasions about this fight. I'm chasing it up. I want the fight. Been on record and said that I want the fight. I've been on the phone with the UFC saying that I want the fight. When's it happening? I want the fight more than anyone. What is holding it up right now is his side. That's the truth of it. The UFC really, really want the fight to happen. They've told me that. This is, as I said, this is one of the biggest fights that can be made. Does he want to put himself in a position where he's comfortable enough financially to take the risk that he's taking to fight me? And that is where we're at. Like, the UFC tell me, they assure me that they are doing everything they can to make this fight. So it's totally, as far as I'm aware, this is now totally down to Jon Jones and his team to work that out. And I'm literally just waiting for a date. But what's holding it back is the UFC want to make the fight with me and Jon. And as far as I'm aware, it's now about, I don't know, maybe financial or otherwise. I'm not too sure, to be honest. But I'm just waiting for the call right now. So remember what I said a while ago now? I will retire Jon Jones without even fighting him. That's something that I said. And Jon, let's do it. If you want to do it, you don't have to ask me twice. If not, I'll fight somebody else for the undisputed belt. Happy to fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. Doesn't matter. I'm ready to go.
Well. First of all, I want to say this. Tom Aspinall has taken the piss out of my haircut before now. He said, major quiff on Bisping and put a picture of me. He's got the Superman little lick of hair coming down there. You did that on purpose, Tom. Okay, you did that on purpose. You think you look good. You think you look trendy. Don't talk shit about me, pal. There you go, Paul. Hold on. We can all do that. We can all. It doesn't look quite as good. I got too much product in. Paul, me and Anthony. Oh yeah, you look good. Me and Anthony spoke at length about this many, many times, but I don't think we've been through this. We haven't had the Felder perspective, the Felder angle.
Yes.
Yes. Give it to me.
I do think that there is a part of Jon that is worried. And I think he's one of those guys that really wants to keep his legacy intact and really wants to leave essentially undefeated, minus the no contest or DQ or whatever it was at the time. Against Matt Hamill. I also think he's really worried about being put out and flatlined and embarrassed and that being the lasting thing that we see. I do think there's a major part of it that's that. And I think that's why he's going to go above and beyond to kind of ask for really big paydays and almost try to price himself out, essentially. And I think he wants that Pereira fight because I think he knows he can take him down and he can control him and it's an easier fight. And I do feel for Tom because he is the guy. I hate when guys, Jon is amazing, but when you stick around and then you start holding stuff, it's like, dude, you're the next guy. You either have to leave or you have to give this guy a shot. It's really frustrating because I think I, like everyone else, want to see this friggin' fight. I want to see it.
As I said before, I was making a joke out of it, Pereira walking in and doing this, and then you're standing there. The reality is that is when the nerves do really start to kick in. And we know as fighters, I've got into some fights where I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good on this one. I feel like I'm going to fuck this guy up. But there's been ones where you're like, yeah, all the bravado, all the speaking to the press, all that shit goes out the window because you can't lie to yourself. And you're like, hold on a minute. this guy's legit. Look at Vitor Belfort, juiced out of his mind with the power of Jesus in his corner. You know what I mean? I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This ain't going to be easy, right? But that's what we sign up for as fighters. And yes, of course, there's a risk that Tom Aspinall knocks him out cold. But the fact that might be what's holding this up, the fact that he's worried about maybe getting knocked out, I think that's crazy. And it will affect his legacy. Now, maybe we're wrong. Maybe that's not what it is. Maybe he's just posturing. Maybe he's playing the game. Maybe he's negotiating the biggest purse.
Yeah.
But
I thought that for a while. But yeah, now it's like, come on, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like at some point, you just gotta accept the fight and let's set a date. Let's at least get something set in stone. And you kind of then you were saying no, you didn't want him. Then you were kind of agreeing that this fight can happen. And now has he said anything really? John's been pretty quiet about the whole situation, I feel.
He was threatening to kill someone on Instagram Live a few weeks ago.
Other than that,
he wasn't Tom Aspinall. As I said, Pereira, if he's successful this weekend, which we think he will be, other than, maybe a rematch with Jan Blachowicz or maybe Carlos Ulberg, would be worthy. But again, it sounds really bad to Carlos Ulberg. It's not the name on everyone's tip of their tongue. You know what I'm saying? He's taken out all of those people. Maybe if he is successful, a super fight with Jon Jones does materialize. Maybe he fights Tom Aspinall. But if I'm Pereira, if you're Pereira, you don't want to go up against the interim champ. And that's no disrespect to Tom. You want the undisputed.
Yeah. If Pereira wins on Saturday, he's calling out Jon Jones.
You think so?
100%. Why not? Why not? Height of your moment. You just take out Ankalaev like you've talked about. You've been clearing out your division. John wants the fight. Now you get people maybe involved in it, but I think that's going to suck. I mean, it's not going to suck. It'd be awesome, but it sucks for the heavyweight division. It sucks for Tom Aspinall because if Pereira goes out and let's say he knocks Ankalaev out and he gets on the mic and he's like, John, I know you want this fight. I want this fight. Let's make the UFC want this fight. This is going to be the biggest fight ever. Me and you are going to throw down, blah, blah, blah. Then it could change things for Tom. It could shift their opinion on the matter. I hope not.
That would suck for Tom because Tom should be the next man in line. Tom is the next man in line. But the UFC have always done a really good job of giving the fans what they want. I'm not building a narrative for this fight to happen, by the way. I'm just saying historically that's what we always see. And if Pereira, who is really popular, who is on a tear, who has taken over the sport, gets another viral knockout at the moment, and then does what you just said, and let's just say Jon Jones is there or Jon Jones responds. And then everyone online is going, oh, yeah, I want to see this fight. Undisputed light heavyweight that's cleared out the division, which is Jon's old title against Jon Jones at heavyweight.
Yeah.
It would be so out of order to Tom Aspinall. It would be so not what should happen.
Well, then I wonder
what might happen.
What might happen, I wonder at what weight class does Jon go back down to 205 and vacate the heavyweight belt and let Tom go on and fight for the undisputed heavyweight championship, or do they just fight and meet at heavyweight and fight? Because if that's the case, he's still, no matter what, he has to vacate the belt. I think if he doesn't fight Tom, the UFC is going to make him vacate the belt, no matter what, sure. Even if that fight is at heavyweight.
I think, I mean, there's got to be something happen along the way, right? I mean, listen, he only fought in November. To be fair, it's March. Okay, it's the start of March, so November, December, January, February. Right, so we'll call it 4 months. It's the third of a year. You know, he's got to put up or shut up at some point. At some point, he's got to say, yes, I'm willing to defend the belt. And maybe Pereira steals that. I find that highly doubtful, if I'm honest. Listen, you can hype it up and, paint the picture in the scenario that we just did. And great. You can romanticize it and people say, oh, that's awesome. But I don't think UFC would do that. That is the fight. It'd be big. Would it be bigger? Tom versus Jon, would that be bigger than Tom versus Pereira? Terrence McKinney, give me your goddamn opinion.
I'm going to have to say Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. It's probably the biggest fight we can ask for. I think it must happen. And Jon Jones, I think he's just playing his cards right. And being a competitor that I know he is at heart, he's going to do the fight eventually. He has to.
That's what we're hoping, Terrence. That's what we're hoping, man.
This episode is sponsored by Hims, and Hims specialize in the age-old problem of men losing their hair. I'm talking about people like Callum, my son. I hope he doesn't see this, but his hairline is receding big time. It's not a problem that Brian has. We know he has a full head of hair. But if you, like many other people, are struggling follically, if you are challenged on top, it's starting to thin out, then you need to get involved and take a look at Hims. Hims provides you with convenient and quality access to a range of hair loss treatments that work with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. You can choose from personalized chewable, oral, spray, and serum treatments to find out what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online, so there are no uncomfortable doctor visits. You just answer a few questions and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to you for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, and they can help you get your confidence back too with visibly thicker and fuller hair. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/believe.